The Rams were up with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
30-14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Kenneth Walker was already having a half decent game.
He was
having a half decent game. He had a 55-yard touchdown scamper to give him close to 100 yards, which Kevin likes these things. And then it felt like no matter what the Seahawks were doing, they were shooting themselves in the foot again. And it wasn't until Rashid Shaheed had a beautiful punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah. And nobody even came close to touching him.
No one touched him. And they scored on the 2-point conversion to Cooper Kupp, and all of a sudden it's like, okay,
we need to, because there were a lot of TVs that got turned off.
There were.
Right?
Two of them were in
and
this
there were
room.
reasons to do that. It was in my article. Do you know the Seahawks record in the fourth quarter, trailing by 16 points?
172.
Yes.
Well,
172
when they're 14. When they're 16 was 0 and 155.
Wow.
All time.
Which is impressive.
And also, previous to this, the Rams record when leading by that much was 323-1.
Which is stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was actually Dustin, believe it or not. So Kevin and I turned off our TVs.
Yeah.
We were so pissed off, and I think it's putting it kindly.
I liked how you mentioned something about cussing like a sailor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that was a play on words for you.
I knew that, and I was like, well, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
I know you do, Mr. Sailor. At ease. So
and then, but I was going to, and the reason why I was still around was I was going to go and congratulate Dustin on his fantasy football win. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden he was talking about, wait a second, they're punt return for a touchdown. And I'm like, okay, well, we better pay attention here.
And then the
defense,
I
was fully on board.
And then the defense flipped it around.
Thank you so
much. Flipped it around. Oh my God. So let's also continue. The Rams had an opportunity to go for the kill shot. And I'll talk about that later on in the segment.
Yeah. Okay.
But the defense flipped it around, flipped the script completely around.
Right.
And then Sam Darnold hit a beautiful moonball touchdown to the corner, to the far right corner of the end zone to AJ Barn, and all of a sudden,
and there was no coverage anywhere near him.
Nowhere near him. And then arguably the weirdest 2-point conversion I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, the Zachwards pass.
The Zachward pass, yes. I did not think that was backwards when I first saw it, and then we saw the replay, and then credit to Terry McCauley, who's with Prime and NBC, Prime. And he goes, hang on, this might be backwards. This might be a 2-point conversion. I'm like, that's a thing?
Yeah, no, that's
a thing?
I thought I thought it might have been Herb Street who said, wait a minute, this thing might be backwards. And then he said, what do you think, Terry? And they looked at all the angles. And Terry immediately said, that's a backwards pass. The Seahawks are going to get this 2-point conversion.
And the crowd went
absolutely crazy. And then you had, I don't know, I'm sure you saw all these people came out of the woodwork talking about how the referees were bogus on that and everything.
Yeah.
But the referees, I thought, did a great job of explaining that whole sequence of events.
Yep.
And there were people talking about, well, none of the players knew the rule. Well, they don't need to know the rule. That's why the referees are out there.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Now, let's also continue by saying this. It's the defense did their job in the fourth quarter. 9 times out of 10, the Seahawks lose this game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
9 times out of 10, they lose this game under Pete Carroll, Mike Holmgren, Jim Mora Jr., John. Who cares? 9 times out of 10, they lose this kind of game.
9.5, probably.
Yeah. Probably.
Because here's another stat for you: the Rams are the first team ever to have 500 yards of offense and lose. 3 free up on turnovers and lose the game. It's
first team ever in history to do that.
Happened before.
By the way, the last team to have, I think, 500 or more yards of offense and lose in this kind of way, I think was Super Bowl 52 when the Patriots did it. When they lost to the Eagles. If my memory serves me correct, I'm not sure. Maybe it was Kansas City the year later. I guess the Rams. I don't know. But
there were so many improbables here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they made a comment after the game that all these people were leaving the field, all the fans, a lot of fans left, which you can't blame them.
Can't blame them at all.
No, but this is going to be the new version of, and Kevin, you probably remember this. Dan, you probably have seen it mentioned in documentaries and things. I didn't see it live, but I remember hearing it referenced. There are many, many, many Buffalo Bills fans that left the playoff game and then were trying to get back in the stadium when Frank Reich led them back.
Oh,
biggest comeback ever. Yeah.
92.
And now everyone and their mother claims that they were at that game,
Correct.
I mean, technically they were, in hindsight being what it is. But and then overtime rolled, and then in all that, the game goes to overtime.
Yeah.
And Puka Nacua, the SOB POS that he is,
225 yards received.
Which okay. We'll get to the Rams in a second, but so much for covering the number one receiver. I mean,
you talk about take my mouth shut on that one. Okay?
I mean, to be fair, they did hold the Rams to sub 100 yards rushing, right?
Well, that was the other thing that was up, because that was earlier and right in the start of the game. They didn't matter who they were rushing.
Yeah, the Rams were running the football like crazy.
Blake Corum, Williams, and then they were in the third and four, the early part of the game. And
they should have lost this game.
And the Seahawks number 3 defense, I thought, was getting thrashed.
Yeah, they were.
They did.
They were, and they got I have in my notes here, which before we really get going, I just want to say, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Seahawks deserve to win that game. By all rights,
no.
By all rights, they should have lost that game. They were badly outplayed. The Rams won the time of possession battle. The Rams had the offensive yardage battle. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, up until the fourth quarter, there was no pressure to speak of on Matthew Stafford. The defensive line was getting no push. Puka Nacua tearing us up. Colby Parkinson had some big catches, as you predicted he would, Kevin. There was no business the Seahawks won the game. I don't begrudge you two for turning off the TVs. I don't begrudge those fans for leaving the stadium. But what I will credit the Seahawks and Sam Darnold with is they didn't give up. They got up. They got up off the mat because the first game, let's call it what it is. Sam Darnold has had a great season. He has done better than anyone predicted in a Seahawks uniform. Anyone that thought he was going to do this is lying to you. I'm sorry. But the Rams have his number. Chris Shula and that defense, they fake pressures on him. The interception was a drop. Somebody dropped into coverage and picked him off in the red zone, which we thought was the dagger. The Rams had outplayed the Seahawks badly.
Yeah, they did.
Especially that first interception, because he threw it in the double coverage.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was, as you mentioned, Dan, that was a bad throw.
Bad throw.
There's no other way you can describe that.
No.
And then you're like, here we go. Right? That's 6 interceptions in 2 games that he's thrown against the Rams. 6.
And then going back and then they go to overtime. Through all that, they still go to overtime. And then Puka Nacua scores from 43 yards out. And
there was nobody near him.
Nobody near him. Now, and then it was all up to Sam, and they delivered. They delivered.
And what about those plays by the receivers?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jackson
yeah.
Smith and Jigba scored the
Along the
touchdown on the back
sideline.
on the back ends on the back line of the end zone, and then we're thinking that they're going for two, are they? They're going for two. They're going for the win, and then
Which they had to do because if they tied, it does not help them.
you guys watch South Park, right?
Yeah.
So my brain immediately went to Randy Marsh when he's holding.
I knew what you were going to say because I was going to say the
Buffalo
same thing.
Soldier.
Mike
He's got
McDonald.
stones.
Mike McDonald put his stones on the table and said, "We're going for this freaking
That's right.
game."
He could have had him smacked with a very heavy hammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he had to make that. That's a and Dustin, you called it.
Yeah.
And they said it on the broadcast. They need to go for two because if they tie, that's a loss, really.
Yeah.
Technically still a loss. And by the way, can we discuss this? Ties should be eliminated. Just give us field goal shootouts for 50 yards.